Saw dudes, upon logging into Destiny once again, I found myself quite bored. So I challenged myself to create a build that focuses on healing teammates because we all know the blueberries need it. Today's Solar Warlock build is all about support, and uses the Boots of the Assembler, which extends our rift duration and sends out orbs that heal allies. It's a perfect support exotic and lends itself greatly in harder content. So sit back, relax, literally, and start yelling at your team to DPS better and more. Let's get started. First up, we have the Gameloop. As soon as you and your team arrive at the function, bust down that rift. Then sit in the corner like the wallflower you are and let your friends do all the work. Sit in your rift and it will send out seekers that heal them, so you can check the weather app or the calculator. If they really need it, use your weapons to kill ads or your melee/grenade for beefier targets. Should your homeboy get wasted, pop your Well of Radiance and revive him. If you have Lumina, make sure you use the noble rounds that you accumulate to give them a 35% damage buff. Rinse and repeat. For our abilities, we're going to spec into those that provide ad clear and team support. Our super will be Well of Radiance, naturally. Well makes damage phases extremely easy. As you'll see later, it also makes killing champions much more bearable, especially in Grandmaster content. Healing Rift will follow the same theme. With Boots of the Assembler, it will send out healing orbs that can provide support to nearby teammates. For the melee ability, I chose to use Incinerator Snap. It makes me look like Roy Mustang, but it also does more damage than Celestial Fire, and can cause ignitions if all the sparks hit one target. Finally, we have the Grenade. This is up to preference. However, I find myself using Fusion and Firebolt the most. Fusion does more damage, while Firebolt covers a larger area and takes care of ads quickly. When we look at the aspects, we will be using Heat Rises and Touch of Flame. Heat Rises grants 20 airborne effectiveness and allows us to fire weapons and use abilities while gliding. Airborne kills grant melee energy. Also, you can now consume your grenade to activate the Heat Rises buff, which grants massively increased glide time. Airborne kills extend the duration of the buff. Touch of Flame buffs our various solar grenades. Fusion grenades explode twice, and Firebolts get a 50% radius increase and target 5 enemies up from 4. The fragments for Battle Mercy are Ember of Benevolence, Singeing, Tempering, and Torches. Benevolence grants 400% additional grenade, melee, and rift regen after buffing an ally. Buffs that are considered to trigger this fragment are Cure, Radiant, Restoration, Healing, or Reviving. Singeing grants 300% additional class ability regen for 3 seconds after applying Scorch to an enemy. Tempering grants 10 recovery to us and allies for 8 seconds on a solar kill. While the buff is active, we are granted 20 airborne effectiveness, and solar kills spawn a fire sprite. Finally, Ember of Torches causes our powered melee hits to grant Radiant for 8 seconds. Time to go over the Mercy fit. The Halo had Harmonic Siphon, Special Ammo Finder, and Heavy Ammo Finder. Heavy Ammo Finder can be swapped for Dynamo or Font of Wisdom. With the gauntlets, I used Heavy Handed, Font of Focus, and Focusing Strike. On the dress was Concussive Dampener and 2 variable resistance mods. On the Boots of the Assembler, I ran Recuperation and 2 copies of Solar Weapon Surge. Finally, on the Bond were Bomber, Reaper, and Time Dilation. The stats you want to focus on for this build are Resilience, Recovery, and Discipline. Resilience is the usual recommendation for staying alive. Having at least 80 points in the stat is pretty nice. Recovery is perfect for this build since it lowers the cooldown of our rifts. The lower total cooldown, combined with Ember of Benevolence, makes the build come together. Finally, we have Discipline. While it isn't required, grenades will help with ad clear and champion killing. If you have leftover points, consider putting them into Intellect for a lower Well of Radiance cooldown. If you're enjoying the video so far, please consider subscribing. It would make my day. Alright, you sorry Overwatch players, we have 3 weapon loadouts for today. Each one adopts a slightly different playstyle, so you can take these and change them however you want. Weapon loadout 1 uses Lumina, the Eremite, and Apex Predator. Lumina is the OG pairing for the Boots of the Assembler. Kills with the Inverted Thorn create Remnants, which can be picked up to refill 4 ammo to the mag and grant a noble round. Hipfiring with a noble round loaded causes the next shot to release an orb that tracks its teammates, healing them for 90 HP and granting us and them a 35% damage buff for 11 seconds. This is the highest damage buff in the game, so they'll be nanoed for a hot minute. Boots of the Assembler takes us to the next level, feeding Lumina noble rounds without the need for kills. This provides healing and damage boosting in higher level content easily. The Eremite is a solid solar fusion that can be used for DPS or as another support option. The perk combo I suggest using for this build is Heal Clip and Controlled Burst. Heal Clip is used for healing yourself and allies and plays into the support theme. It also can proc Ember of Benevolence. Controlled Burst increases DPS by reducing charge time and increasing individual bolt damage. For normal gameplay, stick to Envious Assassin and Controlled Burst. Apex Predator is here to nuke bosses. I know it's uninspired, but we don't have much variation. Quick Launch, Impact Casing, Reconstruction, and Bait and Switch are the go-to. Weapon Loadout 2 uses the Navigator, Abyss Defiant, and Apex Legends. The Navigator is a second support weapon that we can employ. Unlike Lumina, it cannot heal or provide a damage bonus, which is a little unfortunate. However, it can make up for it by providing everyone with Woven Mail and severing enemies. Woven Mail provides 45% damage resistance, which stacks with other DR sources. Sever reduces outgoing enemy damage by 40%. You can apply Woven Mail to allies by shooting them, which also gives us Woven Mail. Sit in your rifts and send out Healing Seekers. You'll basically have a roided out team. Abyss Defiant can fill the support niche or serve as a standalone weapon. The 2 perk combos you can choose from are Heal Clip and Incandescent, or Reconstruction and Target Lock. Heal Clip provides healing to ourselves and allies, just like the Eremite. Incandescent assists in applying Scorch and some light ad clear. Reconstruction and Target Lock allows us to cosplay as Rambo. Apex Legends is kinda boring, is it not? Jokes aside, this rocket launcher is used to cover AoE damage and boss DPS. The role you should chase is on screen right now. Finally, we have Weapon Loadout 3, which uses Pardon Our Dust, Polaris Lance, and Cataclysmic. This loadout is meant to play in the backline and provide healing and AoE damage. Pardon Our Dust is used for crowd controlling enemies to slow down combat. I use a quick launch, disorienting grenades, auto-loading holster, and vorpal weapon roll. While you could use another DPS weapon, I feel like this option is the best for the role that we are playing. If you want big deeps, then Heritage and Succession are right up your alley. There's also Supremacy with its no reload gimmick. Polaris Lance is perfect for a slightly more aerial playstyle, especially with Heat Rises active. Landing headshots returns a bullet to the magazine and charges up an explosive round. The explosive round deals pretty decent AoE damage and applies Scorch. On its own, Polaris Lance can cause ignitions, which is great for applying consistent damage when heavy ammo and special ammo is out. Last but not least, we have Cataclysmic. This weapon is a breath of fresh air from Apex Predator and does great total damage. However, you will have to hit headshots to make the most of it. The role I use is Arrowhead Break, Liquid Coils, 4 times a charm, and Bait and Switch. Alternatively, you could use High Impact Reserves in the 4th column for a less fuss experience. And that, everyone, is how you take Mercy from Overwatch and shove her into Destiny 2. I had to make it work somehow. I hope you guys enjoy this support-focused build. If you have any tips or feedback, please let me know in the comments. The gameplay in the background is some of the GM runs I did as testing. As always, thank you all for watching, and happy farming.